Hey there. We're going to have a little fun with the divination of the ancients and our spirit allies decks. Yeah. Right? How cute is this? You are always guided. And then it says, ask and you shall receive. Right? Do you guys remember those books growing up where through part of the book you could take a detour? It would say, oh, if you want to have this experience, go to page da-da-da. It was kind of like, determining your path as you're reading, right? So I feel like this is a bit of that is, what is your next experience? What are you creating for yourself? What are you wanting to experience in this new chapter of your life? And how are you aligning to this? And so we're going to ask a bit of that. Okay? We'll see what our advice is. All right, we're going to tap in. Okay, let's ask our angels, saints, ancestors, and guides into our space to provide love and divine messages for our highest and greatest good. We're surrounded in divine white light, and so it is, and so it will be. All right, y'all. Let's have some fun. Oh, I love crystals. Let's see. What does the collective need to know as it relates to choosing their new direction in life, right? What do you want to experience on the way, right, to your destiny? What are some things you've not experienced in life yet? Are there places that you'd like to visit? Are there people you'd like to see? Are there experiences to be had? Let's see what the advice is. Look at crystal ball, clarity. Ask and you shall receive. All right, so the card that we got was fire and spontaneity. And so what it's talking about is a situation calls for you to speak out, as well as like going for it, and also saying it as it is. So there could be a need to release your fears by doing a fire walk, right? Connect with element of fire, become a fire keeper. You can do this literally by meditating with candles or praying by candlelight, or more figuratively by seeking out any kind of enjoyment regarding the things that really make you feel alive. Give yourself permission to enjoy yourself. I feel like it's about giving yourself permission to enjoy yourself. That phrase like seize the day. Don't think, just do it and be spontaneous. I love that. What else do we have here? Stand up and be counted. Speak your truth. There could be situations where you may have been like rolled over and were a bit quiet when you could have spoken up for yourself or what's important to you. So you might be called to do so. All right. I feel like this is also like inspired action. Okay. Following your passion, your purpose. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this talks about your fate and your destiny. Okay. Beautiful energy. So I love this card because it really reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune in the tarot deck. And the Wheel of Fortune can raise you high or bring you low. You may feel like the luckiest person alive and everything's going your way, but then when the blow strikes, it can feel like the end of the world. So if you live by this rule of acceptance, right, you will be the master, right, of the teachings of fate, who can, both be unjust and a cruel goddess, as well as a fair and generous one. So it's kind of like get your reactions in check and realize that the wheel has spun, right? And a lot of this is about lessons designed for your learning and understanding and your spiritual growth. So when you envy someone else who rides high, Know everything can change with the spin of the wheel that propels you to that same dizzying height. So it's like jealous and envy are useless emotions, okay? Your turn will come. What goes around comes around, okay? It's how you deal with the outcome that's important. There are lessons to be learned. This is part of your soul's journey, and it's about enjoying the ride. Excuse me while I'm getting attacked by my cat. You hear him scratching in the background? He's like, let me in, everybody. Let's see what else we get here. Wheel of Fortune. That was cool. All right. Ask and you shall receive. 2. Look at this. Look at the tarot card came out. And change. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, and change. All right, so loving the tarot, the guidance. Tarot represents a life's quest, right? It's about the fool's journey. And it's letting you know that you're being called to your own quest, and it's time to leave the comfort of your everyday life and do something unexpected, okay? As well as don't play it safe. Instead, take up your sword and swashbuckle and continue to move onward. I'm getting like this onwards and upwards energy. And having the need to dare and explore new things. So you may be feeling like stepping into thing 527 on my timer. Okay. So, yeah, I feel like this is taking a chance on you. And so it may cause for you to be like, woo, I've never done this before. This is super uncomfortable. So just don't be fooled along the way. Obviously, appearances can be deceptive. I feel like you've learned that. You've become very aware, okay? Trust the guidance. Maybe if you use tarot, trust that as a guiding system. It's helping you connect with your inner GPS, okay? If you're looking outside of yourself, then you're not using your inner GPS, okay? You're letting someone else's guidance system tell you what's up. So I feel like tarot is an amazing tool to help you to train your own voice, your own inner voice, like being able to hear and understand the messages that your higher self is guiding you, okay? It's about guidance. I feel like it maps, it's so useful. It maps so many different possible pathways for your growth. And it gives you insight. And so that you can kind of use this as a way of like determining what options you have, what different directions you can take, which ones are for your best interest and which are not. It's kind of like what I started with was, remember when we were young and we used to read these books, and some of these books allowed us to kind of like pick our experiences. It's kind of like pick your ending or something like that. I feel like that's it. Like this is, you know, the potentials are endless. It's are you open, you know, to them? And if you're not open to them, why aren't you open to them? Like, how can this help with guiding you on your soul's path? So time to leave your comfort zone. Your life mission awaits you. Learn the ancient art of reading tarot, especially for yourself, okay? And then I love this because, you know, I take this very seriously. It says, you know, an unexpected offer will be made, okay? So are you going to be open to receive it? And I feel like with the change here, it leads us in that direction. So we'll see what this means. So I Ching, it says, okay, and it says change. It may be difficult to embrace new beginnings, but it's the only way for you to move forward. And you're being urged to turn things around and shake them up a little bit. And sometimes we have to be shooken up a little bit to get out of our comfort zone. So change is the key to bringing about these new beginnings and new opportunities. I feel like resistance to change will block those opportunities. So maybe there's a need to stay neutral and accept that change is inevitable. Okay. I feel like otherwise it might create hurdles that actually hinder the flow. You may have to change yourself to make room for new stuff to enter. But as you do, you'll find long dormant wisdom and knowledge. Like, it's going to emerge. It's almost like, you know, your own book is revealed. Okay. Your own story, your own resonance. Okay. It's like you wrote a book for yourself so that you could find it on this path. So what is that to you? All right. But as you do, I feel like there's going to be some amazing realizations along the way. And there could be a situation, right, that you're inquiring about that will be great, that will represent great change, okay? And I feel like it does require you to change your ways in order for this to happen. So maybe a deep and ancient knowledge is surfacing for you, or some sort of awareness, or some sort of insight. Maybe it's a download, maybe it's guidance, right? But whatever it is, it's surfacing for a reason, and it's changing the way you view yourself and the world. So a lot of this happens when you're going through like a spiritual awakening, okay? An ego death or a dark night of the soul. I'm getting like the energy here is a push to make changes in your life so that new things can come in. All right. This wheel, you know, is moving. I feel like also allowing someone else to change, right? Holding space for someone else to do, you know, what they need to do to grow and to heal and to change, make changes in their life. Okay. I love that. And there's names on here. It says the classic of changes. It says Richard John Lynn. I don't know if that resonates for anybody. You never know. All right, so we're going to go this direction. We're going to tap into some beautiful spirit allies. Okay, we'll shuffle here. Look at this. Bottom of the deck energy. Quetzalcoatl. Wow. Okay. Fire. Spontaneity. What do you got for our spirit? You may find that you're strongly connected to the spiritual realm. And so you do a lot of work there. You have a lot of relationships there that you have strong connection to. Look at Nyx. Wow. We have Lakshmi. Love that for fire. Let's get one for Wheel of Fortune. We have Snake for Wheel of Fortune. We have Unicorn for guidance and tarot. And the change is Cancer. So you could be a Cancer sign that this change card was speaking about, or there's something that you may hide, right? Your emotions, you may protect yourself. You could have, you know, a bit of a defense to you. So maybe there could be a bit of resistance to change, but change happens whether you like it or not. All right, I know that much. So let's get into this a little bit. Let's learn a little bit about Lakshmi. All right, so we're checking out Lakshmi, and it says, Lakshmi encourages you to look at all the ways that abundance could come to you, okay? Life's riches come in many forms and don't just include the monetary wealth. Abundance can look like living a healthy life, feeling loved and appreciated, and obtaining the goals you've set for yourself. No matter where you are in life, Lakshmi calls for you to give thanks, for everything that you have. Gratitude helps to create awareness and inspires you to appreciate the present moment. Wow, beautiful. The lotus, and then we have the fire of spontaneity. It's beautiful. The next one we have is the snake as it relates to the Wheel of Fortune, which is fate. This is a cute deck. I follow with the cycles of life. Yeah, of course. Look at. Oh my goodness. What a great companion card for this, right? The snake, transformation, knowledge, wisdom, Wheel of Fortune. Love that. Cycles of life. With this deep connection of the cyclical nature of the universe, snakes urge you to release what holds you back from being the highest version of yourself. You too can remove the layers of ego and expectation to transform into a more authentic version of yourself. Yeah, that is spot on. I love that. So knowing where to begin in this process can be difficult, right? Oh boy, I feel like it starts with faith. And, you know, the snake will help guide us, right? It's kind of like even like the snakes shed their skin, right? And there's a cycle for that. So, I don't know about you, but recently, you know, the energy in my own process and my own work, my own shadow work that I do, which I probably have to prioritize, right? I'm busy. And so, you know, setting time aside to rest, you know, eating really clean. And, you know, even if you're somebody who's like juicing or feeling the call to eat organic, or, you know, change in lifestyles. Okay. And feeling like, I don't know, this weekend I felt like I was, wrung out. Like, if there was a wet towel, I feel like I was the wet towel and I was soaking wet and I was literally wrung out. So this could be part of that, you know, moving through your cycle. Okay. And it's like, you don't want to, I guess the advice here is resist this change. Okay. Because it's helping you transform and release what no longer serves you. So, you know, a snake will help guide you through that. And as each layer of this ego, it's like it peels away, and then like you see yourself in a new way, a new light. You see other things in a new light. Your vibration rises, and along with that, your power to create and manifest is powerful. It's like, you know, it requires like conscious creation. Okay. And that's also part of your transformation, is to be able to continuously evolve to some degree. I feel like there's this continuous process. It's like going around. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at this funnel, right? And it's like that. It's like, you know, it's constant movement. Like you're not just in one vibration. It's like there's this like going up and back down and up and back down. It's like, and through that process, there's a lot that has to be, you know, there's a lot to deal with when it comes to that. Because it's kind of like you're going up to get this wisdom and knowledge and bringing it back down, and you're going back up. And as a result of that, there's a need to like shed past memories, past lives, past experiences, past people, places, things, as you transform, right? So there's a lot going on there. Okay. So just kind of like, there's a need to have patience for yourself. Okay. And grace. Okay. We're talking about the unicorn next. This is so cute. For the guidance. All right. So you very much could be someone that stands out, and you may be someone who believes that magic is real, and you may share that wisdom and knowledge. You may guide with that wisdom and knowledge. I'm also getting like there's this teaching that magic is not limited to extraordinary events. It's like something that plays out in everyday moments. And I love that because I know that those that I connect with experience this themselves. And I would love to hear your moments in the comments, so please share. I feel like it's even like to the point where it's like it's the flowers that open, you know, when you're having your morning tea, or the way that the sun shines through the window just right, or right before the sun sets, there's like this magic to be found, like sparkles. You're seeing sparkles, you're feeling, you know, this bliss energy. You're, you know, hearing maybe a bit more from a telepathic lens, or you know, your ability to see through the veil is high. So beautiful experiences. I feel like there's a need to believe in the magic and not let fear get the best of you. All right. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Right. And if you know who said that, put that in the comments too, because I'd like to know. All right. So I feel like this is really about, you know, there's always magic to be found, and you might be someone who shares magic in some way or helps people find it for themselves, which is really important. So it's about remaining open and, you know, letting the mystical things in life that are sprinkled throughout your day, like, be a sense of abundance, a sense of presence, a sense of being in the moment. Otherwise, you wouldn't experience any of those things. So when you see those things, even like angel numbers and like synchronicities and things like that, like those are little reminders of like, yes, in the moment, like, you know, this is really happening. This is really the thing, or yes, confirmation, or yes, I'm thinking of you too, or they're like little blessings. And so to appreciate all of that and have this like gratitude is amazing in itself. So they're wanting you to remain open to these mystical simplicities that are sprinkled throughout your day. Sometimes it's these little pieces of magic, like I was talking about, that can turn the hardest of days around. So that's really awesome. And I'm also getting like, there is this ability to share this. Okay, so you could be, you know, needing guidance at this time, and maybe which directions to take and how to apply, you know, what you see and experience in this life. You know, tarot could give you some good options. And then our final cards here, the I Ching and the Change and Cancer. So this is about like, sometimes it can be difficult to embrace new beginnings, but it's the only way to like move forward. And so there's a need to turn things around and shake things up a little bit. All right. And nobody likes change, but it's one thing that we can count on. So this is what's needed to bring about new opportunities, and someone or some energy here could be resisting a bit of change. Unfortunately, that tends to block our opportunities, and it creates hurdles, and it hinders our flow. So we want to be in flow, especially if you're a Cancer sign, you're a water sign. So anything, you know, that's not of flow is really going to be felt, to the point where you are going to want to be shielded in some sort of protection, because it's almost too much to bear. And that's kind of what I'm getting with the crab, the shell, the hard exterior, the needing some sort of like protection, all right, from, you know, what's so unpredictable, right, when it comes to like emotions and feelings and relationships and, you know, all of that. So there's definitely something that's dormant that is going to be coming to the surface, okay? Right? It could be wisdom, could be knowledge, it could be personal truths that are finally being realized, which is a catalyst for change. So a lot on that, you know? I feel like if you're going through an emotional stage in your life, this is, you know, it's certainly encouraging some deep releasing, okay? especially if there is some blockages. Okay, so I feel like if there's a lot of emotions that you experience daily, you know, try to be judgment free. But again, like that's part of your process too, is to reflect. And it's important to realize that we shift so much throughout the day, and that's completely okay, right? We welcome all of our feelings and we give them space to be heard. So that might be something that is difficult, right? Specifically during like a time of change, like we tend to, you know, go within and recluse. So this could represent, you know, a need to seek outside help and guidance so that we can experience and express our feelings and process things so that we can make changes in our life. We're naturally fluid beings and we ebb and flow just like the tide. So of course there's going to be times that we feel like waves are crashing and it's creating disturbance. So sometimes the disturbances have purpose, and sometimes we don't see that right away, but eventually we do. So through mastering this process of witnessing and letting go of our emotional waves, there's eventually this grounded energy that happens. So there is this, like, you know, after the storm has passed, right, there may be a bit of cleanup, but, you know, it's new nonetheless, right? It's almost like, you know, the sun sets and then the next day it rises again. It's like that. Beautiful. I love this. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. Let's just get a couple tarot cards and we'll see what the advice is with this. Okay, let me just do a little shuffling here. Couple cards for the group here that I'm picking up on. You could be a water sign. You could also be someone who is neurodivergent. I always, when I see and feel like unicorn energy, like it's like embracing your uniqueness, right? And knowing that you were specifically designed this way. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And then whatever has been experienced here is certainly for there to be growth. And then I have the Hanged Man, and so there could be a time of gaining a new perspective, taking a time out. You know, I'm seeing the waves and finding some way to, you know, see things clearly. Maybe there's a bit of emotions here that can be overwhelming to sort through, and you know, sometimes it's about you know, taking a pause and being the observer, right? And letting things kind of play out a bit before taking any action, okay? Kind of observing, all right? Magician at the bottom of the deck. Yeah. There's like this surrendering, sacrificing, clarity here, okay? This also is like focusing inward too, so there may need to be, yeah, 10 of Swords and the Hanged Man. Ouch. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's a really painful ending here, but I feel like this change is necessary. It's for your highest and greatest good. Okay, because I feel like the energy that they're in, or that I'm picking up on, is really like it's binding, it's bonding, it's restrictive, it's not doing anyone any good. And it's kind of like there needs to be massive change if someone wants to experience something different in life. If they're not loving their experiences, I feel like the change begins with them. And yeah, I feel like there is a lot to do with maybe who they're dealing with. They could be in some sort of dynamic that is very unhealthy, maybe even like a trauma bond, a karmic relationship here of the Lovers, the Devil. I have the 7 of Swords in reverse and the 5 of Swords in upright. So I feel like this is what is needing to be changed is, you know, whoever's doing this, that, and the other, maybe as it relates to this connection here, I feel like there is no positive outcome here. This only results in devastation, betrayal, and pain and suffering. And so someone has to see something clearly, because I feel like what they've involved themselves in, they should take pause and may need to do some deep reflection here and figure out how they got to where they're at. All right. It didn't happen overnight. And it's certainly something that, you know, is for them to figure out. Okay. With this Page of Wands, the Hanged Man. I don't know. This could definitely be like someone needing to take action. You know, this also could be like, you know, removing oneself and going maybe somewhere where there's peace. I feel like maybe where they're at, there's no peace. Maybe something that is connected to nature. Maybe it requires doing something new and different, but it takes action. It's not just going to happen to you. It's something that requires this energy to take action. And so, you know, it's necessary here. My cats are literally having a conference. 1 second. I feel like this time out, this rest, this seeing something with a new perspective, you know, is definitely going to help maybe find some sort of inspiration, some sort of path, some sort of quest, which is what we were picking up on here earlier. I feel like whatever this is, right? The Devil, the Ten of Swords, this karmic relationship, karmic friends, family, trying to win at all costs, lying, deceiving, betraying, right? Using, you know, magic, okay, to keep somebody bound and stuck to somebody is really not for someone's best interest. And so I feel like this is coming to some sort of realization of, you know, what's really true and what's really false. All right. So yeah, there's major cause for change here. And this is like talking about like, this is an opportunity for you to be in alignment with your purpose, your path. It's like resisting change with the Four of Pentacles. You know, holding on to something, not wanting to let it go. Like, what are you holding on to? There's a need to release this, like also talked about earlier. Yeah. All right, well, it's like hiding behind false security, right? I feel like they could be with this energy because they're afraid to be on their own. So they're holding on to something that gives them some sort of false sense of security, right? So they're needing confidence, they're needing support, they're needing, you know, they're needing help with like this transition in life. There are resources available for this purpose. And I'm getting like maybe there's a bit of fear, maybe there's a bit of storm. There's a storm brewing here. And I feel like it has a lot to do with fear, anxiety, nightmares, like unknowns or things coming to light that, you know, really are shattering something for somebody. So it's kind of like it is for the sake of change. And then we have Justice here. There's balance being restored here. There's a need to bring balance to whatever situation they're finding themselves in. And I feel like where they are, there's no balance. And so there's a need to step away from something so that there can be clarity and also balance. And this very well could be like someone, you know, potentially having to go somewhere so that things can be fair and just. So this also can represent like going away, going to some sort of retreat so that you can calm your mind, which affects your reality. Maybe there's therapy, maybe there's the justice system here even. So someone could be going away, right? They may, with the Four of Pentacles, they may be a bit restricted as well. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like it's as a result of a scheme, okay? For the reason that someone is maybe had to sacrifice or surrender some sort of rights or action, okay? I'm getting like, I feel like there might have been action taken here that someone is being held accountable for as it relates to some sort of fairness and justice here. As it relates to their decisions, their choices may have led them to some sort of dead end. And as a result, there's like repercussions here. Yeah, I feel like whatever this was, they're dealing with the aftermath. All right, so yes, they're not wanting to have to deal with their consequences. They're resisting change when it comes to this. Okay, and who am I talking about? Talking about a Knight of Wands who likes to, I don't know, I feel like maybe they tend to try to, I don't know, it feels like a bit of juggling here. I feel like this might have been someone who may be experiencing, again, the effects of their decisions and their actions. And they may find themselves, you know, in a position where, I want to say this, it's kind of like shit or get off the pot, right? Are you either going to change or you're going to continue to experience what you've been experiencing. And there's like a cause, like standing up for a cause. You have a choice here to do something different. Are you going to do it? And I feel like, you know, you're not going to be able to do it in this energy. So there's a need to make an effort and really follow through with inspired action to have, you know, a different perspective. There's a different perspective here. There's a different experience here. It's like, you know, but there's change needed. And you know, what goes up must come down. So this could very much be someone experiencing their downfall as it relates to the actions and decisions and the effects that they find themselves in. Again, like whatever plans, no more. Okay, these plans did not work out in their favor. Whatever direction they took, they're dealing with justice. And I very much could be talking about, you know, water sign energies or to that effect. Okay, so if you're a water sign, they're a water sign, or there's some like heavy emotions here, and there being some sort of like needing to protect oneself, right? Potentially from this energy, because I feel like they were dealing with some shady energy here. We have the Lovers, the Devil, Seven of Swords. I feel like they're having a hard time getting over what they actually did. I feel like it affects their mindset. These things could be playing over and over again in their mind. But it's almost like they believe the lies now, and they may be afraid of whoever they're dealing with for retribution or redemption. I feel like they hold on to this for the sake of fear. So they're gonna need to power through their fears in order to get on the other side of this. This is like, you know, this happens, you know, when there's a major tower happening here. Like this is like major life changes, like a difficult life event, one that is a catalyst, right? I feel like right now their ego's in charge and their emotions are high and there's a lot of conflict here. This person is surrounded in conflict, inner conflict and outer conflict. I feel like there's been a lot said and done, you know, and I feel like their conscience is getting the best of them, as well as your ancestors. All right, so there could be some incoming communication here. Could be from a Leo, or could be someone trying to find the confidence. I'm getting like they could find themselves in, you know, a bad situation. However, this is not your problem, okay? This is for them to learn from. You've already experienced this. So it's like your turn to enjoy your blessings while they learn their lessons, okay? So there's a bit of that. All right, you guys, I'm going to end it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. You know, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, so be the unicorn, all right? And I will talk to you guys later, and I'll see you on the next reading. Bye now.